Welcome all. Welcome to this new section where we are going to discuss the two different codes of our piping industry. Okay, one is used for process piping and other is used for power piping. Okay, we are going to discuss uh, major clauses from both the codes so that we can understand how these two codes are different from each other. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are going to discuss 12 major differences. Okay, we'll look into both the codes, each and every related code clause, so that we can understand how these two codes are different from each other. Okay, for example, based on application, okay, where we are going to use these two codes. Allowable stresses, how allowable stresses, we are going to discuss this portion in very detail. We'll first try to understand how these allowable stresses are mentioned in standard. What are these allowable stresses? We'll take one or two examples. Then we'll look into further detail how this is different in 31.1 and 31.3. So this is going to be very detailed session. Then based on design life, factor of safety, what is this factor of safety and why this is important to understand the difference between two part. We are going to discuss these things. Pipe wall thickness. Okay, when we are going to design our piping based on 31.3 or 31.1, what is a major difference between the thickness of the pipe and why that difference is there? So we are going to discuss all these things in this session. Variation on normal operation. Okay, we'll look into these clauses which are mentioned in both the codes, and we'll look into why these are different from each other. Post-weld heat treatment. This is again a very important part. We'll look into various clauses which are different in two standards. Random inspection and examination. This is a very important factor in piping industry, whether it is process or power piping. We need to understand what are the various clauses mentioned in the codes and how they are different from each other. Then related to testing, we'll try to understand what is hydrostatic test, pneumatic test, service test, and what are the various clauses mentioned in these two codes, so that we can understand what are the differences are there. So this is how we are going to cover each and every clause. 12 major difference shall be covered here, and then we can understand how these two basic codes of piping industry are different from each other. So I'm sure this is going to be a very important and informative session. So let us see what are new things we can learn from this session. So let's start with the first difference.